And hello, movie lovers. So today I actually have a very special guest, one of my good best friends, to be honest with you. Back whenever I first started out with the audio only podcast and everything, I have Frenchie with me, and it's an honor to actually have him back over here at Movie Lovers Unite. It's been close to a year, so let's go ahead. Let's talk about the movies that haven't aged visually, and these are just bad movies that have aged badly. So let's do this. Hey, my friend, how you been doing, man?
I'm pretty good, thank you. And you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
All right, and I want to specify these are not bad movies that have bad visual effects. These are actually a lot of them good movies that just don't stand out anymore.
Most definitely. Whenever you look at movies, for instance, like Mortal Kombat, X-Men, Terminator, the list just goes on for us. But we only narrowed it down to a couple of films and everything. But we want to actually give some context into what we're trying to do. And so we decided what better way to do this than with a movie trailer reaction with nostalgia and do it that way, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's go on ahead. Let's see this. So let me pull this up. So we're going to start off with your first pick, which is the 1991's classic movie, one of my favorites, The Rocketeer.
I saw this in cinema. I was young as hell, but I saw it in cinema. I was 4 years old. I absolutely love this movie. And I've watched it so many times when I was younger. And then I had a big stall I did not watch it. Like for a good 20 years, I didn't see it. And then when I got Disney Plus, I'm like, oh crap, that movie still exists. And I rewatched it and I went, wow, is this bad? Like this nostalgia kicked in. It was awesome. But visually, like there are movies at that time that had back screen overlays like The Rocketeer, and it wasn't as bad as The Rocketeer. It is horrible. And I love it. I still love it, but visually, I have to say it's horrible.
Okay. And another thing, too, is I grew up watching The Rocketeer, but I didn't go to the theaters or anything like that. But I remember seeing a clip on Live at Regis and Kathy Lee. That's back in the 90s. And, of course, I also watched this on VHS. So I love this movie. It's just it didn't age visually like I thought it would, because I'm like you. I went on ahead, went to Disney Plus. I'm like, oh, they still have this movie? I need to go check it out. I'm like, ooh, this is bad. This is like really bad. But let's go on ahead. Let's dive into the trailer. And then from there, we'll go on ahead and dive into my pick. And then we'll go back to Frenchie's pick. And then after that, we'll go on ahead and talk about about some of the things that we didn't like.
To some, it was the fulfillment of a dream. To others, it was an instrument of destruction. A creation that could change the course of history.
It was stolen from my factory.
Where's the package?
This is the FBI!
What do we tell the president?
Tell me exactly why this merchandise is so important to the feds.
It's a rocket.
A rocket?
What? What's the matter? I don't know. There's something under the seat. Oh, my. What do you got here? What are you supposed to do? Is it a bomb or something? No. I wouldn't touch that if I were you. All right, look. Like a hood ornament. Clear. What was that? A flying man! Big gopher.
Jesus.
Are you trying to kill yourself? I like it. Uh-oh, we got company.
You steer, I'll push. You what?
I'm not Rocket Eddie. Not next week, not tomorrow. Now.
Keep your eyes open for this dame.
Jenny's in trouble.
They're working for a Nazi agent.
With an army equipped with these, you could rule the world.
You touch one hair on her head, I swear I'll...
Shoot him! We've got the girl. The rocket will come to us. I love her, Peeve. Does she know that? She's gonna find out.
Let him have it!
Hand over the rocket!
This is so bad.
Oh, seriously.
Rocketeer. Go get him.
That part right there.
That's what I mean. The backstreet means the part they're on the actual blimp, and it's like the background with war and everything, and it's so badly made, even for that time. Like I said, it's still charming as fuck. You see that? It goes in the camp of campy, but must love it because it's campy. You know, if it didn't have the charm, it wouldn't be a good movie. That's pretty much all it has is charm, and the like Timothy Dalton and really good actors in a really cheesy ass movie. But again, it's inspired of the old comics. It's very pulp. You know, it's in the same vein as Indiana Jones and all that stuff. It's supposed to be campy, which I'm surprised that they never really took a shot at it again. It is a franchise that could benefit from today's technology and have something interesting. So I'm surprised they never remade it.
To be honest with you, it works better as a Disney Plus series than it does a movie, to be honest. Now that we're looking at our TV shows and the way they're made now, they feel like movies now, if you think about it. So it makes more sense for them to do a Rocketeer movie. And I wish they would tackle a Rocketeer movie instead of doing a whole entire reboot of a movie. That would be a whole lot more refreshing. But yeah, but going back on what you said real quick was this. Yeah, the visual effects still don't hold up. Well, they held out back in the 90s, but not now. The dialogue is really bad when it comes down to it. It feels like a 90s sitcom. It's like, oh no, what are we going to do now? It's that damn rocket.
They even say it in the movie, like, how do I look? Like an ornament. They even acknowledge it during the damn movie that the costume was absolutely ridiculous. And he still went with it. It still holds a dear part in my heart.
Me too.
But as someone who's now grown up, is not just in a fantasy of, oh wow, this is exciting. I'm someone now that can appreciate good visual effects, even in the older movies. Like 2001: A Space Odyssey is old, and I mean it's like 20, 30 years over the Rocketeer, and still holds up to today, right? So there are classics that are so well made. Aliens, The First Predator. There's a lot of movies, especially sci-fi, that it's either amazingly awesome and, you can see a bit the age, but still has evolved to what we expect. Look at Jurassic Park, made around the same year as The Rocketeer. Still holds out to today's standards, right? Well, and then you got movies like Rocketeer, which is like, yeah, it was a thing.
Let's see, Jurassic Park, the very first. I'm just wondering about this one.
91.
Yeah, 1993. So two years later. So that's why the special effects were a little bit more ahead of its time, a little bit. But I wish they would actually follow through with another Rocketeer movie. There was nothing wrong with the first one at all. They could have capitalized on it. I also had the regular Nintendo game for it. So
Jesus Christ.
Hey, what can I say? I have a video game for every single movie that comes out.
Apparently.
But
again, it was, you had Star Wars, you had Indiana Jones, you had a couple of exceptions, but in majority, like a franchise thing wasn't, as well conceived, as well thought of for a lot of movies. You had the exceptions. Then you had standalone movies, standoffs, which is part of Rocketeer, what it was, right? Again, I do see them taking advantage, like you said, the Disney Plus format of TV shows. Give us a one shot. Give us something in the same era, pulpy, with good visual effects. I would be all down.
Same.
But I can maybe rewatch this movie once every 10 years. Show my baby girl what I used to watch when I was younger. She'd be like, "Hey, this is bad." I'm like, I know.
But watch it anyways. You're gonna love it.
All right, so on to yours, my friend. What did you choose?
Okay, so my question is this: do you want to do Flight of the Navigator, Mortal Kombat, or Ghostbusters?
It's your choice. Am I John? Am I John?
No, but I want to. Hey, you're the guest. I want you to. Hey, if you're gonna get, here's the thing. I want you to tell me what you would like to see because there was one movie on here that you haven't seen before.
True.
So
in that case, let's start with that.
Okay, so this was actually my childhood that my mom introduced me to when I was a kid. And it got me into time travel It had the Beach Boys in this movie. It mimicked Pee Wee Herman. It had a lot of nostalgia stuff going on within this. This is very 80s at its 80s best. This is also a young Sarah Jessica Parker in this movie as well, playing the nurse, which I had a crush on that I didn't even know that she was the nurse until I got older. But it had like a lot of nostalgia feels for this. So this is actually something that my mom introduced me to, and also too, I've rewatched this on Disney Plus, and none of it actually ages well within this movie. So
it's your Rocketeer.
Yeah, this is my Rocketeer, but at least I can say with the Rocketeer, there's elements within the effects that I can say, okay, I liked it for this element or that element. With this, it looked like it was very foamy, very rubbery. It was just a rough rewatch watching. And everything was bulky in the 80s too, so everything was like really big and huge. So let's go on ahead. Let's go into my next pick, and that's going to be The Flight of the Navigator.
Never heard of it.
Oh my god, dude, this is actually really in my mind, it's good, but I know. Just watch.
David, what time did you enter the woods?
Around 8 o'clock.
Then what happened?
Then I reached this cliff.
It's transmitting in alpha waves with complex frequency patterns in them.
I know I fell.
It's 1986, man. 8 years since that night. This is totally rad. I mean, you're my big little brother.
I think you should take a look at this. Where did this come from? From the mind of a 12-year-old boy?
He's hurt. He's calling me. His voice keeps calling, saying something over and over and over, but I can't understand very much. Help you. How?
Sit down, Navigator. You have the information I require to complete my mission. I have been sent from Phelan to borrow samples of light from different galaxies for study. On this planet, I chose you.
Why me?
Why not?
Okay, which way to put Lauderdale?
I only know what's in your head. You don't know the way from your house.
Space helmet. Jesus Christ. I gotta say, it looks extremely typical of a bad 80s movie that still has, again, charm, but I still like it has an interesting atmosphere. It almost feels Spielberg-like for some odd reason, like the early 80s, probably not even close as good, but still that little, odd to mystery. It's not just campy all the way, It tried to take itself seriously. End result is a different thing, especially with that robotic eyeball thing in the face. But still, it doesn't hold up. No, I agree. Like, just from what I saw, it doesn't hold up. Does it look like an enjoyable watch? Yes.
Right, and the thing is, I liked it because of the time travel thing. Because here's the thing: the little kid, whenever he goes into the woods and comes back out, come to find out, it's been several years since he's been missing. So they don't know what happened to him, and all of a sudden he thinks that he's still in the 80s, but yet a few years have passed. So that's the sci-fi element that I loved about it, was the fact that you have this little time travel element within this film, and then you're introduced to the whole entire thing with a spaceship that looks like a seashell. Then, of course, everything looks like foil. If you think about it, everything looks like aluminum foil. It looks very fake looking, even though it's supposed to look fake, but still, even the monsters don't even hold up either. You can definitely tell this looks like a Jim Henson kind of bit that they did.
Yeah.
And then the robotic arm. I would like to actually see them remake this, to be honest with you.
I was gonna say, especially with the whole, every time he comes back, there's years later that passes by. You can do something with that, like either having a 6, 7, 8, let's say 8 episode arc, and you have him, go into the past or future, whatever, time travel for a couple episodes, and when you come back, you have a different setting, or next season, you realize when he comes back from his adventures, 10 years has passed, Disney has a lot of stuff they can work with. Do they always make the best content? No. The content they really do good, they're excellent at. But there's a lot of shitty content. But that is because it is a product of their time. They had amazing ideas, just didn't have the technology, and it wasn't a wrong decade to do it. Now Disney has a lot of the technology to do the ideas they had in the past, but couldn't really, do it properly. So there's a lot of, I'm sure like the Rocketeer in this one is only one, but many examples of what they could do, a reboot or refranchising of certain
or retelling of a certain story. So yeah, definitely they could relaunch it and do something different with it, which I would hope they would do. But and also too, this is also a story that's kind of complex for a kid around 7 or 8 years old to actually understand what's going on within it. All you remember is basically an alien robot, monsters, and him sneaking out of his room in NASA because they're doing experiments on him and going on a spaceship. And the Beach Boys playing as well for I Get Around. So yeah.
At the same time, I'm sure they put something for as much for the parents than for the kids, right? The kids is the whole wow element. The parents, at least let's try to do an interesting story. And you got the Flight of the Conchords again. My bad.
It's okay. Flight of the Navigator. So let's see here. For your pick, which one do you want to go with next? X-Men or Terminator?
Let's go with the controversial one. Probably people are going to hate me for X-Men 2000 version.
Okay. Let's do it. This is actually the start of the franchise, as we know, for the X-Men, that's been around for 20-something years.
It's the start of comic book movies. That and Spider-Man, which are two first superhero movies to really start what we know as superhero movies of today. There were some before, right? But this started a movement.
Yeah, this is actually what got the ball rolling when it was like, oh, we have a franchise here. We need to keep making more comic book movies. This is also the start where you actually have your Marvel movies going into different directions with studios and things like that. This opened, if it wasn't for these films, we wouldn't have the MCU that we have today.
Right.
So let's see what we have as far as this X-Men trailer goes. It's been a long time since I've seen the very first X-Men movie and also seen the trailer. So let's do this, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now seeing the beginnings of another stage of human evolution.
The truth is that mutants are very real, and they are among us. We must know who they are, and above all, what they can do.
We're not what you think, not all of us. Who are you people?
What kind of place is this?
I'm Professor Charles Xavier.
I built a school where mutants could learn to focus their powers in a positive way, and also learn that mankind was not evil, just uninformed. You'll be safe here from Magneto, a very powerful mutant who believes that a war is brewing between mutants.
This feels like a Star Trek movie.
Humanity.
There is a war coming. You sure you're on the right side?
never seen anything like this before.
We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter.
Hold on to something.
Can I say this is a bad trailer?
Yeah.
Don't give up on them. Mankind has evolved. Not anymore.
I'm actually surprised that we went out and saw this movie, though, because of how horrible the trailer was. But then again, we've been craving for we've been craving for an X-Men movie for a long time, so it makes sense for us to go see this movie. But at the same time, it's like you can definitely tell that they were going for the Matrix vibe because every movie was doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. They were going for Matrix vibe. Like a lot of movies went for that Godzilla did in trailers. Like next 20 billion trailers had that sound, you know. So I'm not surprised. That being said, it's still at an age and a time that had the voiceover guy, one Wolverine, one Professor. It could have freaking been that, you know. So at least we didn't have the voiceover guy. Is all good.
That's true.
But when it comes to the visual effects, like a lot of people, like I've been talking to, they don't get why I don't think it stands out anymore. Like for me, is it good visual effects? It's actually pretty passable. Like compared to a lot of movies, it does a good job to what it's trying to do. But I was looking at it on the evolution of all superhero movies, right? And most people say, yeah, but it's not fair. It's one of the first franchise movies. Yes, for sure. But at the same time, going back to the example I use it for, Jurassic Park, the first one, hold the standard for all the franchise and still look better than almost all of them, you know, and had a better feeling, a better atmosphere, better setting, better, you know, almost everything, music. And it was the first one out of like almost 15 years of franchise, still the best one. So for me, X-Men, compared to all the X-Men movies and all the other superhero movies, still has something to hold against. And for me, the visual effects, especially the costumes, and like the rubbery, leathery, bulky costumes, like it shows now like the yellow spandex can work if done a certain way. But I get it. They had to work with what they thought would work. They did not much like precedent of what would work or not. So they did the best they could. But certain of the visual effects, especially the senator going through the bars when he's all stretchy, the makeup on Sabretooth is really, if you really look at it, really is not that good. The acting is not that good too in general. Toad is horrible. Mystique is, you know, she's trying to be a bit like mysterious and everything. But I find if you watch it over and over, you realize it's very dry performance compared to the second one. Third one we don't mention, but the second one is amazing.
The second one's hands down one of my favorites. Not only that, almost got me in trouble at the movie store that I worked at. But
yeah, but this one they're still trying to find their footing. They've got on this X2, but this one you can still see they're trying to find the footing, and that includes in the visual effects.
Most definitely.
Although one standout moment that actually still works to this day personally is when they're in the Cerebro. And the Cerebro starts working like the fine rogue. That visual effect still holds to that day personally.
Most definitely. And the Cerebro stuff actually works. It's the other stuff whenever you look at the Wolverine claws, it looks at the costuming, you look at the set designs, and you can definitely tell with the set designs of the X-Men movie from 23 years ago, it just doesn't hold up like it should. And that's just be like the gold standard of what, like Jurassic Park, like you mentioned, that's supposed to be like the gold standard of what they're supposed to look up to. And it doesn't measure up to that gold standard of what they started off with, but you can definitely tell that they were trying different things and trying to figure out where to go with it. And I remember my friends defending the suits, defending everything within this film at that time. And I'm like, oh, now I see, now that I took the blinders off and the filters off, I now see what my poor parents saw. So as a kid. But yeah, definitely doesn't hold up. So I'm going to go with my next pick, which is going to be a movie that I'm going to be reviewing tomorrow with Alex, which is Mortal Kombat, the 1995 movie. And I actually watched this movie a couple of months back. Now I'm going to go on ahead and rewatch it again for the review for tomorrow. But this does not hold up at all. Goro's arms don't hold up. You can definitely tell that's a puppeteer. Then also too, you also have a couple of other corny stuff that winds up happening within the film itself. The even with Liu Kang's special effects, the special moves, like "come over here," that thing.
For like going through. No, not even getting.
Yeah, none of that works. But we're gonna go on ahead and take a look at this trailer and why I was sold as a third grader going to see this with my friends and eating popcorn and shoving popcorn in my face while my parents suffered. So let's see.
Yeah, just that sky, Jesus.
In each of us, there burns the fury of a warrior. In every generation, a few are chosen to prove it.
One of you three will decide the outcome of the tournament.
3 strangers will travel to the mystical realm of Outworld to defend our people against Shang Tsung. You will die. And his forces of darkness.
Reptile.
Ancient tournament. One more victory.
Your soul is mine.
And our world is theirs.
It has begun.
You can't run from me, Shang.
I don't need to run.
Johnny Cage, Scorpion,
Combat begins.
Jesus. Yeah, that's bad. But again, it gets its charm. It was considered for a long time the best, still the best.
But yeah, definitely not something that actually holds up right now or anything like that either. This is one of those films for me that I have to actually say that doesn't hold up because of the special effects and the stuff within that film. And I'm thinking that it just needs a lot more improvement. Even though we have that new reboot and everything, I think the special effects for the reboot and everything looks good. But the story wise and the lore wasn't that great. But the part where you have the corny dialogue, then you also have the famous. I like the soundtrack still. I think the soundtrack is still fire when it comes down to it. But yeah, I think that Mortal Kombat is definitely one of those films that isn't the 1990 version of it is still not that great. But still, I think that, I just feel like that they could have done a lot better with it as far as that. Okay. Right.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. So going ahead, you were trying to finish your thought on it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Especially I forgot about Reptile like that. I don't know what that was. Jesus Christ, it's really bad. Especially like the animation. It shows it's like 1995, but it still was considered for a long time the best video game movie for a very long time. And that's how bad video game movies are. If that was your golden standard, for
right. It's so good it's bad kind of vibe to it though.
Yeah, I mean, like the casting, certain casting. I love Johnny Cage. He
Me too.
fits that the character is camp to begin with, so the actor works. Sonya Blade is horrible. Like they ran out of budget for this movie for casting, and Sonya Blade was definitely one that they kind of like cut corners in the acting department.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that, when it came down to Sonya Blade's storyline and story arc and stuff like that, it was not there. It was just like a one-shot kind of deal where here's Jax, but then we're not going to show Jax. He's going to take the sidelines, and then Sonya Blade's going to get on the boat. It's very paint by the numbers kind of feel to it, and she doesn't really do a lot in it other than kicks ass, which is basically why you go see a Mortal Kombat movie and stuff like that to begin with. But for that time and that period and everything, it works. And I remember as a kid going got over the effects and then I'm looking, and then after that I watched this. I'm like, I dragged my poor mom to go see this movie with my friends. And I remember this though too. I remember there was like Showgirls was playing at the same time as this movie, and then there was also House Party 4 that was showing at this time. And all of my friends and I were just geeked out over the fact that we get to see our favorite characters together, and then the music, and I bought the soundtrack, and then I drove my mom crazy, and then it doesn't hold up. I'm just gonna say I'm sorry, Mom.
Two things that do hold up. You mentioned one is the music. That song still holds up. That song is classic. You hear that song, you know it's Mortal Kombat.
Exactly.
And second thing, chapeau to the decor people. Like the art, the setting itself is really well made. The Grand Hall of Shao, what's his name?
What is it?
The main baddie in the first one.
Oh, Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung.
Like his throne room. The decor is so good. The little details that is usually put in a very big movie. They spend a lot of money, it shows, on the atmosphere. Got left out in the special effects and in the acting, though.
Yep. So let's go ahead. Let's go with your pick, which was the Terminator, and then after that, we're finishing off with Ghostbusters. So let's do it.
And to be precise, this is the original Terminator.
Which, to be honest with you, I prefer T2 over the first one, but that's just me because, yeah. Let's do it.
All right, boy. Jesus.
I was just about to say the same thing.
In the 21st century, a weapon will be invented like no other. This weapon will be powerful, versatile, and indestructible. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bargained with. It will feel no pity, no remorse, no pain, no fear. It will have only one purpose: to return to the present and prevent the future. This weapon will be called the Terminator.
You're dead, honey.
What day is it? The date? 12th May, Thursday.
What year?
I'm here to help you. I'm Reese, DN 38416, assigned to protect you. You've been targeted for termination.
Where does it want me? Why me?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. Your future is in its hands.
Yeah. But they even show the worst part. I remember the time, like, after one of the big action sequences, he has his like part of his face ripped up, and you can see the metal part. And when he like takes off the skin, you can clearly see it cuts to a puppet tearing the skin. It's not even Arnold anymore, and it does not even look close to Arnold. And just this rubbery mascot thing.
Substance.
It's so bad. It is so bad. Yeah, again, it's one of those iconic classics that feels wrong to beat on it a bit. Because yes, T2 is better. T2 by one of the best movies of all time. Definitely in the top 10. You know, Cameron really hit in all fronts. This one's still a classic. It started it. It brought Arnold to a whole new level. You know, Arnold, per se, I'm sorry, he's not a good actor.
No, not by a long shot.
He's one of like in the category of Sylvester Stallone, Keanu Reeves, and Arnold are all the best bad actors. You know, they're not.
What about Van Damme though? Would you also put him in classified as with Van Damme more than you would with those other two, or no?
No. Like Van Damme is still in he's not as prolific because he always does the same thing. Because to be a good bad actor, you have to be a bad actor but play in different types of genres and go in different types of you know types of roles. But the thing that stand out, like not stand out, but really rely like Keanu Reeves, Stallone, and Arnold is they're not very good at displaying emotion. You know, they're not very right ranged. They're good in stoic. You know, and you need to be a bad actor to do that. That being said, Arnold is a hell of a presence in this movie. But if you look around it, like especially like the beginning, the openings compared to T2 and all the other ones, the future does not look like the future. It is horrible. It's super mechanic. Like you can see it's very puppeteery, which again, product of its age. But there are things that do work. Like again, look at Aliens in the same time frame, Predator the same time frame, and it still stands to today's standards. This just feels very, very robotic. I'm sorry for the pun, but it's true.
And another thing too, like the futuristic stuff with the apocalyptic kind of thing that they're going for. The set piece actually feels smaller than what it's supposed to be. It didn't really leave a lot of standing room to do anything with to make it look like they're in this middle of the war. It just feels like it's a one-room scenario in a virtual reality kind of scenario where they're fighting this war, and you don't really have that emotional impact like you would if it was like an open range. But then again, like you said, it's the 80s, so therefore they were limited to what they could do. So it actually does feel like a styrofoam kind of feel to it with an apocalyptic kind of world. And then also too, like you said, the prosthetics and makeup and stuff like that, whenever Arnold's taking it off, you can definitely tell it's a puppet that's taking off the stuff. And then, you know, then there's also that one thing in the trailer where basically is like, oh, you're dead, girl. I'm like, this actually looks like us as a viewer watching this trailer and us telling Sarah Connor that, but, you know, the trailer...
The whole joke is like Arnold goes through the phone book. Yes, there's a phone book in this movie. Goes through the phone book and looks for all the Sarah Connors and kills them one by one. So when there's like 2-3 Sarah Connors that dies, the girl says, "Hey, look, you're dead," you know. But yeah, it's cheesy as fuck.
It is. It definitely is. But, you know, it's the 80s. You have to do what you have to do in the 80s to make the movie that you want to make. It's just that now looking back at it in 2023 spectacle and everything that we have, it's definitely outdated. But it's fun to watch just to shove popcorn in your face. But I prefer T2 because it's just a better movie. It actually feels more like a horror movie versus a sci-fi movie. But, you know, it is what it is. So our last one that I have is my Ghostbusters thing, and this got me a lot of heat on my page.
I'm gonna give you some heat, bro.
I'm not gonna down it though. The jokes still land.
For sure.
And the storyline works. It's just the visual effects that doesn't work for this.
Before we start, I have one thing to say to you. How dare you? How dare you, motherfucker, to put this movie? When you gave me the list, I was like, like my inner black woman came out. I was like, hell no.
Well, it could have been worse. I could have actually had Back to the Future on there, which I'm never going to do. So it could have been 10 times worse to put that on there than Ghostbusters.
Of all the movies you could have picked, like, no. We're going to fight on this one.
Okay, sounds good to me. Let's do it. I got my boxing gloves. I'm good. Let's do
We're going
it.
bare knuckle, bro.
Hey, man, you're already bringing violence after not seeing you for a year. This is a very violent relationship that I have with
I
you.
know, huh?
Let's do it. I like a little blood. That's me. I didn't press the play button.
Ghosts.
Hello, Ghostbusters.
They're real.
You do? You have?
They're here. Ghostbusters.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
They catch the ghost that won't stay dead. They're armed. They're dangerous.
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad. Okay. All right, important safety tip. Thanks.
They're professionals.
Oh, I'm the chairman of the largest paranormal removal company in America. You see it?
They're all that stands between you and the end of the world.
The city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the sky. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Your girlfriend lives in the corner penthouse of Spook Central.
You want this body?
Is this a trick question? Play a stick. Hold! Beat him up! Smoke it! Swing him hard! Ready!
Ghostbusters. Starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis. Coming to save the world. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
How dare you? How dare you? I find these stand out, like the beams on their guns stand out. Like the gargoyle does not work. Okay?
No, the gargoyle doesn't. That's the main issue too. Is the gargoyle doesn't stand out. Some of the ghost in a sense.
Gargoyle, not gargoyle.
Sorry, hooked on phonics never worked for my ass. Okay. But yeah,
it doesn't work. But the ghosts work. I find it's the
Slimer does.
They made like so. The Mr. Puff, like the character works like hell. I don't get why, unless like that one instant, like even the fridge when she opens up and the whole like zoo thing comes out, it's well made. I don't get how you can put this on this list, bro. I really don't.
Well, the Zold thing when it comes out, it's like a rubber hand that comes out. It's like there's nitpick about Terminator with the prosthetics and stuff like that in a sense.
No, I was talking about the fridge when she opens up the fridge.
I know.
Okay.
But still, I mean, some of the effects just doesn't stand out for me and stuff like that. But that's okay though. But still, though, I still pop this on and I have that nostalgia for it. I still love this film. The jokes land. Bill Murray is at his best. We kicked some ass. I love that. And then, yes, it's true. It's true what you heard. This man is still a dick. That's actually my favorite line out of that whole entire thing too. But yeah.
So I'll see you next year, John.
No, you're coming back. You're coming up. Matter of fact, we already made plans already to do another episode next week.
We did?
Yeah, we did. I have that on writing, by the way.
All right, goddamn, you got me in contract.
No, we don't. We don't do that here. But dude, it's always a pleasure to have you on here, and it's just good to actually see you almost a year, and now you're back with us and everything. So it's awesome to have you.
Well, it's awesome to be on, and I was joking, like you guys
I know.
you'll be seeing me a lot more often. I'm going back to my old ways and old habits and doing more podcasts. Now things are a bit more settled, so I can't wait to be a bigger part of your channel, my friend.
Me either. As a matter of fact, we're going to actually do a little bit of announcement soon on what Frenchie's going to be doing for the channel. But I'm going to wait until Alex and Rossi has their schedule freed up to announce that, so that way we can all have one huge bash party to do this with. So
Sure.
with that being said, that's going to be it as far as this episode goes. I hope that you guys enjoyed our movies that haven't aged well visually. But hey, if you hate me for not liking the Ghostbusters visual effects, you're more than welcome to fight me with this like Frenchie. But still, tell me what what visuals didn't work for you in the comments below on what our list was or what was your list. So don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe button. Also, too, in a few minutes, I'm going to be going live with Rossi for her review for Let the Right One In. This is for episodes 6 and 7, so I hope to see you guys then. So always until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.